Now, the Tobago Tourism Agency Limited has recently ramped up collaborative efforts to gain a stronger foothold in the North American market and increase arrivals to Tobago from the USA. The organization also represented Destination Tobago at 2 events over the past few months to promote the island. And so joining us this morning to talk more about it is Executive Chairman, Miss Alicia Edwards. Miss Edwards, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Kimberly. And thank you so much for having us on the show this morning.
Of course, always a pleasure, because I know whenever we talk to you, we usually hear good news coming from Tobago. And so I just want to tap in quickly to those 2 events that you went to recently. Tell us about it.
Okay, so the first event that we went to was in Barbados. It's the Caribbean Hotel and Tourism Association Conference Marketplace, and it's an annual event that's held in different destinations. It was in Barbados this year. And as you know, it was under the auspices of hotel associations in the Caribbean. And so it was a wonderful opportunity for the destination and for us to make contact with some of the key suppliers in that market. So we spoke to data analyst firms, we spoke to marketing firms, we spoke to airlines, and a whole host of other entities that support regional tourism. It was wonderful to be in Barbados to connect with some of my colleagues. And Tobago also took the opportunity to hold a training for travel agents in Barbados while we were there. So it was a hectic 3 days for us, and we are very satisfied that we participated. But more than that, it was an opportunity for us to demonstrate belief in unity. Coming out of COVID, what we are finding is that a lot more islands are rejoining the CTO, the Caribbean Tourism Association, and being a part of those regional gatherings and all of that. And so Tobago is very happy to put its hand in the unity basket, because we are stronger together rather than separate.
Of course.
When we went to New York the week of June 5th to 8th to participate in what they call Caribbean Week. And this is an annual event that happened pre-COVID. A lot of things changed during COVID. While we were there, we hosted a media launch, and we were able to do a destination brief, explaining to people in quite some detail what Tobago is and who we are and what we can offer to them. We also took the opportunity to pay a courtesy call at the Consulate General in New York to talk about ways that we can cooperate and partner with them. And so all in all, it has been a busy but very fruitful few weeks for us here at the agency.
Yeah, as you mentioned, fruitful. I mean, what sort of outcomes are you hoping these 2 visits will reap for the island?
Well, some of the outcomes are already in train. For example, we have been having some multi-island vacation talks with some of the other islands, because what we're finding is that a lot of the other islands are realizing the potential of some of the current airlift connections that we have. So we have started some discussions with 2 islands about how we can create some multi-island vacation. So if the person is coming for 10 days, 4 days here, 5 days here, etc., so that we all benefit from that one move. We have also began some talks with Inter-Caribbean Airline. That's a new airline that has been servicing the route, taking up some of the space by Liat. And there are quite a few other discussions that have started for us. Another thing that we're really proud of is a press trip to Barbados that we would be doing in conjunction with Caribbean Airline to drum up support around the flight to be able to Barbados. So quite a few things are already in train, but generally it never hurts to go out and promote the destination, to remind people of who we are and what we can offer and how to get to us. And so that's always a win in my books.
Ms. Edwards, I guess my follow-up question will be how soon we can see an influx of visitors from the USA based on these visits that you've been having.
Yeah, the arrivals from the USA have been trickling in. Part of the reason why we are pursuing the USA formally is because the research is showing that while the numbers are flattening, the arrival numbers are flattening in the UK and Germany, which have been the traditional source markets for Tobago, there is a lot of untapped potential within the USA. And so it was late last year, early this year, that we formally entered the market. And when I say formally enter the market, we put in place mechanisms to have work done in the market even when we're not physically there. So we have appointed a rep in the market who is actually working and representing Tobago on our behalf. So us going is just one part of the puzzle. There is a mechanism in place in that market still, after we've packed up and come home, to continue to work and support what we are doing. So the numbers are improving. There is still work to do again because it's new for us. We continue to have challenges with airlift because, as you know, a lot of flights go into Trinidad, but sometimes the connection with Cal is difficult. But we are very optimistic about what the numbers are saying and what the trends are saying, and we continue to work. I want to point out that I'm always cautious about talking about results immediately. There is usually a lag time of between 6 to 9 months between an action and when you may actually see an uptick in bookings, because people usually decide during your campaign and people book holidays maybe 6 to 9 months before they actually go, unless it's like friends visiting friends and family trips. So there is always a lag time between actions. And so that is why it's important for tourism bodies like us to be constantly campaigning or on the move all the time, because after one season, it's another. If it's not winter in the Europe, it's summer somewhere else. And so there is need for that constant campaigning and marketing all the time.
Yeah. Now, as much as there's the need for that constant campaigning, I'm also thinking about the sort of agencies that the Tobago Tourism Agency will partner with. Because, for example, are you going to be having conversations with the hotel sector, with the food and beverage sector, to ensure that they can handle that influx of visitors when they do visit the island?
Right. The nice thing about what is happening is that we are working along some established corridors of cooperation. So with us at that CHTA meeting in Barbados were representatives from the Hotel and Tourism Association on the island. They participated in all our meetings, they sat in all the discussions, and they are continuing to make their members aware of what we're doing and how we're cooperating. At the event in New York, we also had, we didn't have representatives from the Hotel Association, but we have come back and we have disseminated the information and shared the plans with the various entities. And so we continue to work. But I want to say that we are pursuing a strategy of generally working more closely with all our partners. We realize that the agency is really just the facilitator, and the people on the ground are the people who actually deliver and who build the reputation of the tourism product. So we have been in constant contact with them, not just through what we call our quarterly partnership forums, but also going out and visiting, touching them informally, sending the staff out for visits, making phone calls, so that we are actually more in line and aligned with what they want and how they see the recovery going post-COVID.
Yeah. Now, while you may not be able to speak to that long-term response, I wanted to know the initial response you get on the ground when you go to some of these festivals and shows. Do you get that sort of interest from stakeholders, from people who visit, that they want to visit the island of Tobago?
Most of the responses are very positive, and they come in two forms. They may come from people who knew of Tobago before, when Tobago was more promoted, and they would say, we are so happy to have you back. And then the other group would be from people who said, I know about Trinidad and Tobago, but I've never paid much attention to Tobago. While we were in New York, I was privileged to do a destination brief, and I talked about my island through my own eyes, because I love Tobago. And for all of my life, except when I went off to university, I've lived here. So there is an intimate and persistent love affair between myself and the island. And so when I talked about all the things that the island represents to me and the way that it has changed and what it offers, not just from a physical, but a tourism place, but also from a place of peace and perspective, people came up after and said, whoa, a lot of interest and all of that. So what we want to continue doing, and what we have been doing more of, is using a more intimate approach to our marketing, using more authentic Tobago faces and voices and persons to market the destination, to talk about the experiences on the island, because that is where the trend is. People don't want that slick, polished perfection that we have come across in marketing. People want to get a sense of the authentic energy of an island, and nobody can do it better than somebody who loves and who's probably, I would like call it navel string, whose navel string may be buried here.
I love the example. And I'm glad that you mentioned that in terms of the authenticity of the island, really selling that, because I'm also thinking about Carnival. I know it is in very, very early stages. This is only the second year that Tobago is going to be having its Carnival. But was that sort of one of the marketing tools that you use to bring people to the island, or is it something that you may put in your plan as the Carnival develops across in Tobago?
Right. So Carnival is one of what you call the catalyst events, because separate and apart from people coming to the island just for itself, people always respond to reasons to come. And what we found coming out of the first Carnival is that it was attractive to people. I am a masquerader and I play. And there was an intimacy to the carnival. It was a beautiful event. We were parading near the sea, but there was an intimacy to the mass. It was a lot less crowded than Port of Spain is. It was a lot less frenetic. There was a more relaxed space, but the vibes was good. And as we go around and we talk to people, everywhere I've gone in the last couple of months, I've met people who said, oh, I had such a wonderful time at October Carnival in Tobago. I'm coming back. Even at the consulate last week, there was a lady saying she can't wait to come back. And so festivals, not just Carnival, because before Carnival, we have the Tobago Heritage Festival coming up in a few
which
weeks.
is coming.
Later on this year, we have the Blue Food Festival. So there are a whole host of activities on the island throughout the year that the agency is getting better at marketing and selling to increase arrivals and to deepen spend for the benefit of all stakeholders.
Nice. Well, Ms. Edwards-Lamie, thank you so much for joining us. Like I mentioned early, always a pleasure to talk to you. I see the work that you're doing, and I hope it continues and that we can see that influx of visitors as we continue to market the island. So thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Okay, thank you so much this morning.
Have a good one. And that was Alicia Edwards, Executive Chairman of the Tobago Tourism Agency Limited, just providing some updates about what the agency is doing to promote the island of Tobago. You're on the Now Morning Show. We're going to take a break and be right back. Stay with us.